Hello people, and welcome to a new tutorial video from Riverside X Studios. In today's video guys, we're going to be looking at how to make a drum loop pattern in Logic Pro X with drum samples. So first and foremost, what you want to do is go and grab yourself a trap kit. For this tutorial I'm using a Metro Boomin drum kit, and inside of it on my media browser I have all of these, and this is going to be very helpful because I'm going to be using probably a little bit of each folder. So first and foremost, what you want to do is set your tempo. For this tutorial I've set a tempo of 126 BPM. So first and foremost, I like to start with a clap, and I'm not going to be picking samples at all that are the best samples because I just really want to show you how you can really just grab your samples and just drag them in and do what you need to do. So if you click on the sample and then just press this little speaker icon here, you can preview it, and I'm just going to use the first thing that's in there, and then what you want to do is just grab it and then drag it over to your arranger window. Okay, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here, and I'm going to create a 4-bar loop. At the moment we have our division set at 16, which is perfect for now. Okay, so what you want to do is zoom in a little bit and get your clap position here. So feel free to follow along guys, feel free just to go with the flow of this tutorial. One thing I will say is, if you are working on samples, just double click on the name and just name it, because it just kind of helps knowing where everything is. And you could even right click it and just create an icon for it. So obviously this is a clap, and I use this hand icon for the clap. So far, oh yeah, and also put your metronome on, click track, just to get in the groove. So I'm finding those claps a little bit too loud, so what I'm going to do is click and drag to the left, highlight all of my claps, and then what you're going to do is, hopefully you'll have this eye icon inspector. So providing that you've just highlighted all of your claps, what you're going to want to do is just go to the gain, and I'm just going to bring mine down -3 because claps were peaking a little bit too loud. Go back to your media browser, and next thing is you're going to want to get yourself a hi-hat. I'm going to go for this hi-hat here. Again, just click it and drag it. Okay, this time it's a little bit different. Where we have this sample here, what we're going to do is select the track, and we're going to obviously make sure that it's highlighted, but then we're going to right click it. Okay, and what you're going to do is go to convert and go to new sample the track, and you should come up with a little window like this, and you want to create the zones from the regions, and I like to go from around C2 to C6, which is fine. And then what it's going to do is create a new ESX sampler track, so we can get rid of this audio file for now. So if we just play it, you can hear that it's just inserted the first note on the first bar. Okay, cool. Now you can play in the hi-hats if you want with the keyboard, that's entirely up to you, but I like to do it with my MIDI editor or piano roll. So if we go and double click on this section here and just drag open this so you can see what's going on. Again, I have my bars set at 16. Okay, 16th notes is fine for now, but okay, so just grab this here, and what you're going to want to do, just start creating something very simple. So I'm just going to do it on every quarter note for now. and we're just gonna loop this a few times. So if you go and click on it, and then what you want to do is repeat the MIDI regions. Obviously got one already, so we're going to need another 3 of these. So just go 3, press OK, and another great tip you can do is if you highlight this all and press Command and J, and then it creates one block, which is just easier on the eye. Just put the volume down a little bit, turn off the metronome now. Okay, so that's pretty cool. This is like the basic skeleton to the drum beat. The next thing you're going to want to do is open up the ES, oh sorry, I keep calling it the ES, it's actually the EX S24. So open this up, and then what you're going to do is open it up to the edit window. So let me go back again because I'm probably moving a bit too fast. So you want to go to the edit window, and obviously it's created the note on the C. What we want to do is just go a little bit lower than this so you can create some more pitch. And go up to C4. That's fine. And I'm going to save this. So have a listen now. What I can do now is change the pitch. So this is great if you want to get those pitched hi-hats, okay? So let's work on the hi-hats. I want to create a little frill or trill here. So what I'm going to do is go here, divisions, and I'm going to change this to 32. This is going to allow me to put in more of these MIDI edits. Feel free to follow along, guys. Okay, so for this little section here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create quite an interesting pattern here. So let me just get these all together and highlight them more. Just click and drag. Just going to put it down a semitone. Okay, that's cool. You can be creative with this, guys. Sorry. Because I want to make this tutorial as quick as I can. I'm not going to go too in depth, but basically when it comes to hi-hats, you want to try and create variation. So at the moment, all of these notes are the same velocity. But if you want to change the velocities individually, you can just click and then head over to velocity and then change. But an easier way to do this is to select this icon here, which is MIDI draw, and then controller, and then go to note velocity. Just going to raise this up. So the first note here, as you can see, is the highest, and I'm just going to play around with these a little bit. Just click and drag, guys. It's the easiest way to do it. Okay, so we've got our basic groove going on now. Now, this is where you can get more creative. What I like to do is start working on a kick drum pattern. Now, I've seen producers out there, they just do an 808, so they use that for their bass and their kick drum, which is fine. But usually those type of samples are very much in the low end. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a kick drum, but I'm going to find a kick drum that's more in the higher frequencies, and then I'm going to fill out the rest of the spectrum with an 808, which will fill out the lower frequencies. So the way you find if a kick is more of a top kick or a higher frequency kick is it has more of a lighter tone to it, or more of a pop, whereas a kick drum that's more bassy, it has a more deeper tone, and you could say a less sharp transient. Alright, so I've got a ton of kicks here in this kit, so I'm just going to have a quick listen through them all and see which one would probably suit this best. Okay, I'm going to use this first one here, so I'm going to grab it and then put it into my arrangement window. Now if this happens to you where you see more than one hit from your audio file, don't worry. What you can do is just take out what you don't need and then just kind of drag it to a point where you just see one. Okay, now the gain on this is a bit low, so as well, if this is you, just highlight it, go into inspector, and you can just put up the gain. Cool. So same thing applies again. Set your divisions or your grids to 16 for now. You know, you can work in triplet timing, which is your 24s, your 48s, and your 96. For now, we're just going to create a really basic drum pattern. So we're going to put the first kick drum right at the start of the bar, and then I'm going to put another one. And if you want to drag audio files to create duplicates, just highlight it, press Alt and left click, and then just drag it, let go of the left click, and then let go of Alt. Okay, and then I'm just going to copy this over again to the next section. So as you can see, guys, we've started off really simple. Okay, this is not like some crazy tutorial on how to do the best trap drums. This is a workflow for you guys to know how to do trap drums in Logic. Perhaps you don't have a MIDI keyboard, or perhaps you're not that great at playing it. You can drag the audio files in, and one of the great highlights of this is that when you drag it in, you can actually see the sample. So for example, this kick drum here, if I look at it, I can see that the tail cuts off around here. So I don't need this bit here. I can actually just click this and end this sample around, even here will do. A lot of drum samples that you load up, for example, in a sampler, you can't, or rather you don't see this, but when you can see the waveform yourself, you can see that the energy, you can see the waveform. It's just a lot easier to kind of work with, but I'll probably go over that in another tutorial. But yeah, like as you can see, you can really see the waveform here, and I'm going to keep these quite short. I'm going to end them at this kind of division here. Have a listen to this. Now you might hear a click. Okay, the way to solve this is by highlighting your audio. You want to go over here, follow the mouse, guys, click it, and then go to the fade tool, and then you might try and fade. But what you need to do is you need to hold the command button, click at the end of it, and then just drag this. That will get rid of those nasty pop sounds, because you don't like that. That shit's not cool. Excuse me, guys, I just swore. But yeah, no, that's not cool. So that's how you do that. Now I haven't done it for all of the other samples because I'm just trying to get through this tutorial as quick as I can. Like I said, guys, I don't want to try and go on and on and on and on, because I know you guys just want to learn. Okay, so let's just hear what we got so far. So from here you can get a bit more in detail. If you want, you can add, for example, some more kicks to your pattern, so I'm going to just start playing around. Okay, so there you have it, guys. And as long as you have your division set for beginners, just get one kick and press Alt and start dragging it, and then just line it up, snap it up to these kind of divisions up here, and then you can kind of see if it will work or not. Okay, for me personally that's too many kicks, so I'm just going to take one out. So by now you should have had your clap, hi-hats and your kick drums. So from here, this is pretty much your skeleton, your bass line. From here you can kind of go to town and do whatever you really want to do. So I mean, as you can see in my sample pack, I have some 808s which I'm going to go on to next. But yeah, you can also go ahead and just add a crash, so just click and drag it, put it in the project. And the great thing with working with audio samples is you can see the tails, you can see where they end, and that way it kind of helps you to analyze two audio pieces together and see where perhaps they may collide. For the example of the crash here, it's a little bit too loud, so I'm going to highlight it, go over to my inspector and just turn the gain down a little bit. Cool. Next thing, if you've got a sample pack like this, you'll have a whole leap of 808s. Now, the thing with the 808s and a lot of producers that are just starting out is they'll get 808 samples off the internet, right? And they'll load it up into a sampler, or they may only have a sampler that has it preloaded. But they don't cut the 808, so what ends up happening is the frequencies of each hit start to collide with each other, and that creates a total mess. The great thing about dropping the samples in of each 808 is that you can see the tail, so you can cut the tail before the next note hits in. Alright, so I'm just going to grab any one of these and just have a listen. Okay, I like this one here because it's quite resonant, but it's actually a loop, so probably ain't gonna work. So I'm gonna go for another one. Perfect. So I'm just gonna click and drag. So as you can see, the tail of this 808 is quite long. If you compare it to your kick drum sample, you can analyze it. So the kick drum starts and it ends here, but the tail of the 808 starts to conflict with other kick drum notes. So a way to combat this would be, you can kind of cut your 808 so that it doesn't conflict with the next kick drum note. So grab your 808 sample and then just kind of cut it before that next kick drum starts to kick in. And again, I'm just going to change the gain of this 808 because it is a little bit on the loud side. There we go. Right, and I'm gonna get my 808s to line up with my kicks, so let's do this. Right, because the kick drum is happening here, we can drag this 808 sample a little bit more until it's just before that kick drum, and then grab another one again and then line it up with this kick drum and then just get that note length to go on a little bit more. Cool. And we'll do it again, so just grab our 808, get it to hit on this one. Again, line it up with that one, drag it over a little bit. And then the last kick drum, just add it together. And as you can see, what I'm doing here, guys, is I'm lining up my 808 sample with my kick drum sample. If you look at the kick drum sample, the tail ends kind of short, but the 808 tail goes on a bit more, and that's what's going to carry that bass until the next kick drum hits again. Alright, this is great because remember, your kick drum has a bass frequency and so does your 808. You don't want these to collide together because two bass frequencies or frequencies that are happening in the kind of same region at the same time, if you don't know the key of these or the frequency, they're going to start colliding together. So lining it up like this and getting the tails, it kind of helps. And another thing you can do is, again, just fade out the 808 sample a little bit so that it just avoids having that kind of clicky noise. So yeah, make sure you have the fade tool selected on your functions and kind of just fade out. I'm not going to do it for each and every one because you guys can do that yourselves. So yeah, I know this 808 now, you're thinking, well, this is the same note, how can I change this? So if you're happy with your 808 drum sample, what you're going to do now, or what you can do, is highlight them all. You don't have to do this, by the way, guys, it just helps me when I'm working. Press Command and J and this will join all of these 808s together. Now have a look at the file, it's all together. Alright, now you could create several of these 808s and then use like a Logic pitch thing to change each sample thing to a different note, but that would be the long version. What you can do in Logic is, let's just open this up a little bit more. If you click on this icon here, which is the show or hide flex, and go back to the track and then highlight this, and then go down here and click flex pitch. What you can then do now is edit the pitch of each hit on the 808. So double click it, go to track, and then you have it. Here is the pitch of each 808. So let's have a listen again. Alright, so let's just say this one here, you want to change the pitch. What you can go ahead and do is highlight it and then start dragging it up. Go. This is the best way to do your 808s in my opinion, because you can see the audio tail. Once you've lined them up with your kick drum, you can then start pitching them to your track. So right now I ain't got any other melodies going on, I just literally got my 808s and my kicks and claps and hi-hats. So from here, guys, you can start adding keys or leads or whatever it is to your track in respect to whatever key you've programmed your 808, or perhaps you want to do your drums, make your instruments like your melodies and leads, and then add your 808s. Just make sure that your 808 is in the same key as the track that you're working in, okay? And the last thing I'm going to show you guys is the note repeat function. So going back again to this hi-hat sample, if we just highlight all of this for a minute and just press backspace, this will delete it. Alright, so now we just have the beat with no hi-hat. What you're going to do is go back to the hi-hat track, right click on the empty region, and then go to create empty MIDI region, and then highlight this, and now you go back to your piano roll. Okay, so let's just put one note here, up the velocity a bit so we can hear this. Just going to take off the 808 for a minute so you can hear the hi-hat. Alright, so we got one hi-hat here going on. And you're probably thinking, well, what's the point of that? Well, we can use a MIDI effect in Logic. So go to the instrument track and then go over to MIDI effects. Go down to note repeater. And then this is a great tool, because what you can do here is you can kind of get a note pattern going just from one note programmed in. Okay, if you want it to repeat more throughout the whole bar, just repeat this however many steps. So let's do 32. And there you go. I'll probably go into the note repeater a bit more in another tutorial, because you can do some automation so that that one note can become an 8th note to a 16th, back to an 8th, back to a triplet, etc. But I hope this video has helped you guys out a little bit. I'm gonna leave it here. I hope this video helps you guys. If you have any comments, questions, please leave them below. If you found this video helpful, hit the thumbs up button. If you're a hater, hit the dislike button. It's all good. And if you want to see more videos like this and don't want to miss them, hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. My name's been Mike from Riverside X Studios, and I'll see you in the next one.